First up, I think government in South Australia on both sides of the political spectrum generally are actually very supportive of business. And I think, I've grown the company very much under a tenure of a Labor government in South Australia, and South Australia has been a great place to do business, and certainly from a defence point of view, it's been a really good place to do business. I know, I've got friends on both sides of politics, and I know those on the Liberal side of government are equally passionate about creating opportunities for business and making it a great place to do business. But I think one of the things is I would really like to see, those successful businesses encouraged to go that next step. So those small startups, and I'm not saying handouts, but I'm saying give them every possible opportunity to go the next step and be great. Give them the connections, help them with introductions, use the facilities that state governments can provide in terms of business advice, in terms of regulatory approvals, in terms of reducing red tape, in terms of introductions interstate and overseas. Help them to achieve all they can be. Does that mean picking winners? Sometimes it probably does. And I think if governments are smart about those sectors and those organisations that are doing well, then I think it's more than reasonable to pick those winners and give them a leg up and succeed. So I would just like governments to be encouraging, to support businesses, to not take the view that if they're doing well, then they must be doing something wrong, or that they need to pay a bucket load more tax because they're doing well. Most businesses that are growing and growing rapidly put the vast amount of their profits back into the organisation, and that's certainly been the case with Nova. And it's a really simple piece of mathematics and accounting to look at what profit most companies make and how much money is required to support the growth and to take things to the next layer. And often once you do those calculations, for any company that is growing at even a moderate rate, there's not much left over often for the shareholders and the owners. So don't just assume because a company's making profit that it's ripping people off and that it's all going straight in the pockets of the shareholders, because often it's going into creating an even greater company and hopefully more jobs. Democracies aren't perfect, and I think there's probably plenty of evidence over the last 5 years in many Western democracies that that's the case. But I would like to see government being more outcome focused and less process focused. And I understand the need for process, and I understand the need for probity, and I come very much from that background, but I'd like to see an outcome focus where we say we are going to do things, we are going to measure how well we do them, and we are going to hold people accountable for it. And we just don't use process as a reason for stifling things. And I lament often governments announcing reviews, and I've seen this in defence and I've seen it in all other sectors where we will have review after review after review and no action is taken. And often I do wonder whether those reviews are a political tool for delaying decisions and supporting inaction. And I'd really like outcomes and governments that are focused on delivering things. And when you do that, not everyone is happy. In business, not everyone is happy when you make decisions, but you need to make decisions and move forward and do things and take a view that it's for the greater good. And I think that comes down to a lot of leadership too. I think, you can take 2 points of view with governments that are there to serve the whims and will of the people, and I think that's really important. But I think there's also a fundamental role for government, and that is also to lead the populace and lead the state in what is right, and to provide opportunity and to convince people of a course of action. And that's what leadership is, as opposed to management.